It's a Thursday.
It's Thursday.
Thursday.
Hooray!
It's Thursday.
Ew.
Beautiful. It's Thursday.
Ah.
What does that mean?
It means it's time to do a wine tasting for the first time in a long time.
Yeah,
Woohoo.
online we haven't
Well,
done
it's not just that. I think the last time we did a Shiraz tasting would have been 2019.
No,
No?
I've done a Shiraz tasting.
You've done a Shiraz.
And I haven't,
So there you go.
It seems like forever. I've seen,
Oh gosh.
no, okay.
Indeed.
But, you know, we thought we'd pull out some interesting ones this time.
Well,
different
yeah,
ones.
because these two, oh, that's new.
Yeah.
And that one is a recurrence.
Well,
No,
no,
that's
no,
new.
it's new.
Oh, new.
No, it's old, but it's new.
Ah.
Anyway, we'll get into that. We will get into that.
It's 2019, in fact.
Ah.
Predates you working here. So yeah, we've done lots of Shiraz tastings in the past, but not in a while. And so we thought we'd pull out some things that we haven't done in a Shiraz tasting before, particularly some interesting Shirazes. I think the problem with Shiraz is often that it's such a common wine in Australia that it's very easy to fall into the same
Trap.
which is once you find something you like, you never drink anything else. So
That's true.
part of the reason we picked all these wines is something a little bit different and something we don't always drink every day, which is
Oh,
it's good to have a bit of
I mean, I
change.
don't know about you, but
but Shiraz has been around in this country since
The inception of wine in Australia.
That's it.
well, what's the story of Shiraz? Because you hear about the French, and then you hear about in Persia.
Persia stuff
Yeah.
is rubbish.
Ah.
The thing with all wines and all grape varieties, there's always stories and there's always people filling in gaps saying, oh, it was this, oh, it was that, oh, it was the other thing.
Okay.
And a lot of that been washing around for hundreds of years.
Yeah.
But when they started doing DNA testing, which is a line of the last 15, 20 years, they actually found out what were the true stories and what were the
I see.
what weren't, what was the DNA stuff.
Or there were
Um,
things that they called Shiraz and they realise now is not at all related.
Well,
So it's
anyway, the Shiraz as we know it is what the French call Syrah. And it's indigenous and
Spelled
endemic to the Rhine Valley
SYRAH.
in France. Not from, but where the confusion is the main castle around where the original Syrah vines were grown in France was where all the knights hospitallers came back from the Middle East, stayed there, and the main garrison had come from the town of Shiraz.
And apparently Syrah means princess in Arabic, so that's where I'm confused.
Well, it's Syrah/Shiraz is endemic to the Rhone Valley in France. And where the crossover in the name came is because the knights of the main garrison there all came from the town of Shiraz in the Middle East at the end of the Crusades.
So the name comes from Persia, but the wine doesn't from Persia at all. Well, that makes a lot of sense. As to
So there's no cats involved.
There's no cats involved, there's none of that. But when they did the DNA testing, it was French.
now, I did some very interesting. Oi, Ross!
Hey! Getting ahead of yourself.
Ross is just jumping the gun here.
Also, I want to say hello to Liz and Alex and
Josh.
Jean and Craig
Yeah.
and apparently Josh as well.
In doing some Shiraz research,
Hi Alex.
I noticed a little weird thing, and that grape clones is talked about quite heavily with Pinot because it mutates very easily, but it's not often talked about in Shiraz. And what I found was that the reason that Barossa is so famous for its Shiraz is it's often made from a different clone to things in other regions of Australia.
Oh, is that why they're so particular? Ah.
Oh,
Yeah.
you learn something new every day.
The other thing is most of the Australian Shiraz grapes are older clones than what's alive in France because a lot of them survive pre-phylloxera grapes.
Okay, right.
You know, so some of the oldest Shiraz grapes
In the world.
grow in Australia. In fact, the oldest ones grow in Chateau Taubil,
They do.
Nagambie. But there's a few
1862. huh?
around Tanunda Shiraz grapes that they reckon are old, but no one can prove that they are old, how old or how young they are because they don't have accurate records.
And
it-
one of the first vineyards in Australia, which was closed down and bulldozed in So it's quite funny to see that, you know, Victoria isn't actually where Shiraz started, but we've got the oldest grapes in the world now. Yeah.
Is there any difference between Syrah and Shiraz? Because why are there some Australian Syrahs?
Just the style.
But what's the style? What does that mean?
Well, the French call it Syrah. We've always called it Shiraz. I mean, a lot of the Australian winemakers now are sort of saying, well, it's the same thing. It doesn't really matter whether you call it Syrah or Shiraz. If you call it Shiraz, everyone knows it's Australian.
Okay, right.
And you call it Syrah, everyone knows it's French. And if you're Australian, you call it Syrah. Well, either you're trying to make a French style, or you're trying to make some sort of statement, or some might say you're just being a bit.
Josh, we're starting with the Munificent.
The other thing I have noticed is there are a lot of the bigger wineries, when they're making multiple different labellings of Shiraz,
Yeah.
rather than recreating new names for each label, sometimes they'll specifically make a French style at a different price point, and they'll just call it Syrah, so that they have another labelling.
What is the difference between the French style and the Australian style? Because we all say style, but what does that
A lot of the Australian stuff tends to be big, dry and peppery.
Yeah. Is it anything to do with the process?
Yes and no.
Part of it's the ripeness. We always get our grapes a lot riper than the French.
Because we have it, not today, sunny.
Anyway,
But interestingly enough, the French now are getting more sun with global warming, so they're actually getting riper vintages. So
Well, the Poms are now growing grapes to make wine. So things are crook and Tullarook.
Right. I see.
anyway, we're starting with the Munificent, which is actually produced by our friends over at Hale & Cooper, which is one of our favourite distributors. And this is sort of their entry-level wine.
Is Munificent one of those things that if you can say it, if you can't say it, you've had enough?
Yeah.
I mean,
I think they couldn't copyright.
I reckon about 11 o'clock at night, Munificent would be a really hard thing. No, Munificent is a word. Munificent means generous.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Did you not know that?
Speaking of generous, what's the deal with these guys?
Oh, they give money, food away. Money.
Yeah, speaking of generous. So,
Food.
a percentage of all of the profits that go from this wine go to Sisterworks, which is a female charity looking at getting women into business and setting up their own businesses to be self-sustaining and supporting, and giving them connections with the other female business owners to sort of give them
And we like that.
a helping hand into being able to support themselves and their families. So it's
Go
for an
them.
affordable wine that's giving a portion of its proceeds to really good charity. I think it's a really good wine before you even open it.
I like the label.
And the label is pretty funky.
Okay. The first thing is what? Is it sort of a purpley colour, red
Yeah.
purpley?
I would say it's quite magenta-y red.
What about the legs on it?
Ooh.
It is a bit leggy.
A little bit leggy. Not too leggy.
That tends to be about the alcohol usually.
Not even just the texture of the wine, but it's not completely black though. It's
The texture of the wine. We'll come back to the texture of the wine.
I was about to say. Yeah.
What do we smell?
Have a sniff.
Plums, some raisins, bit of leather.
Yeah, there's a nice bit of earthiness on the nose actually, like subtle.
What do you think?
I've just done a Shiraz gin tasting. I'm not really the best person to ask.
Yeah, when I was setting up this tasting, I kept on wanting to say Shiraz gin. Just Shiraz.
There's
What
like
flavours do you smell here?
I feel like I get some sort of spice, but it's not. It's like maybe nutmeg or it's something
White pepper?
like
Sumac.
that. Sumac?
I get sumac and
Sumac.
white pepper.
I also get like a wet leafiness.
Ah.
A wet leaf.
Is this the green version of petrichor?
No,
Yes.
not green. Like wet autumn leaves.
Ah.
Like
Wouldn't that be very petrichor though?
no, because it's petrichor is like minerally
Slaty.
dirty.
Petrichor porree.
This is more a sort of
Yeah, I don't think petrichor is an adjective.
a woody, papery sort of
Petricorporeal.
a woody,
Petrichor.
papery smell is what I'm saying.
So
Slated
petricorporeal wine.
business.
It's petrichor wine from Munificent.
Everyone's a bit silly.
No, I haven't had anything to drink yet. I just want to get it.
No. Lisa says, I think it's a bit minerally.
Yeah, there's a bit of minerality.
Yeah.
Alright.
And thank you, Liz, very much for buying me some oranges to go with our Shiraz gin tasting, and well pointed out that it didn't go in the Shiraz. It went in the Shiraz
Ah,
gin.
gin.
That's a different tasting. This is our third tasting. This is our third tasting of the day, and
Yeah.
Ross is the only one who hasn't had a drink.
So for everybody at home, we've been doing online corporate tastings for some of our corporate clients this afternoon. So if we seem a bit out of sorts, it's not because we're drunk, it's because we've been running around trying to organise things all afternoon.
Yep.
I haven't. The reason I'm out of sorts is because I haven't had a drink yet.
Yeah.
You have now.
But I'm jealous of them to do everything else.
Ross has been the counter boy all afternoon.
It's nice and soft.
Oh, juicy.
Juicy, soft,
Oh,
plum.
juicy.
Gee whiz, juicy.
Plum juicy.
It's
There's
plum
a really
juicy.
nice
Yeah.
blackberry sort of note on the middle palate.
Mm.
Blackberry, yes.
Yeah. But it's got a dry finish, which is good.
Oh, you think so?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, it's a bit of not full tannin, but just a nice dry finish.
Yeah, it doesn't have any tanny punchy thing. Oh, I like it.
That's really easy drinking.
But it's juicy,
What
but
would,
it's dry.
what would you eat with that? Yeah, actually.
All right. Before the tasting, I was thinking we're not allowed to mention anything to do with steak, and you can't just say some sort of meat. You have to say how you want to make the meat.
Yeah.
Okay, barbecued lamb chops.
You reckon
No, this is not strong enough. This is a tomato or eggplant pasta, maybe with some sausage, but it's not a big meat red wine to me.
I reckon this is like a pasta with chorizo.
Oh.
You know, like a little bit of that sort of spiciness would go really
Yep.
well with that blackberry.
Chorizo and mussels, that'd be good. Mussels.
I just had some lasagna, and this would have gone well with it.
Well, we're talking a bit about Spanish food because the Spanish bike race is on. La Vuelta a España.
What would you be? You say lamb chops, right?
No.
You stick by that?
Anything else? It's gone post-verbal.
No.
Post-verbal. I like post-verbal.
Post-verbal.
I think Ross is pre-verbal most of the time.
Liz has said spinach with spices matches the mineral.
And where did we get the spinach from? Thank you, Liz.
Anyway.
The Tennyson Street Farm.
I really like that.
Now, apart from being supplied by one of our favourite producers and going to charity and being very affordable, the other reason we picked this wine is because it's actually been pretty popular lately.
Yeah.
And I can see why. It is just yummy.
It's good.
Yummy.
It's also-
sexual.
Well, it's a $16.95 bottle of wine, and it's like a great entry level.
It's got a bit of complexity though for that price, I reckon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I think it's well-made wine.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Do we have any last comments on this one?
Yes, thank you.
It's got a red top on it.
You
Ross
like
is
it?
feeling very constructive today, everybody.
He's also been the delivery boy, to be fair, so he's been good.
Oh,
So am I.
Josh has said seafood pasta of some kind, like a marinara.
That's what I'm saying. I've got
Oh,
mussels and chorizo.
Yum. I like it.
I like it. I like it. It's different. It's unusual.
Just for everybody at home, the Munificent is actually a blend of McLaren Vale and Barossa Shirazes. So that
Oh,
might,
that's interesting.
which might be why it's got a little bit more complexity because it's
Oh.
pulling two different varieties.
I think that's where the spices come from. That
The Barossa bit.
No, the Coonawarra bit. Get the
I thought it's a
spices.
Barossa and McLarenville.
Oh, my God, sorry.
Ah, there you go. So we're now moving on to the Shinas Estate The Guilty.
Popular with the lawyers.
For obvious reasons.
Ross got it in about 300 years ago as a bit of a joke, and then
It turned out
all
to
of
be
a sudden,
really good wine.
all the barristers' clerks were giving it to all the other barristers' clerks over when people won cases or lost cases where we would all laugh, and then somebody tasted it and went,
Ah,
this is not so bad, it's not a joke at all.
And
like the picture of it.
it's also, over the 15 years that we've had it in store, it is one of the most consistent red wines that we've had.
It's a bit old-fashioned, it's a bit porty, it's a bit all those things, but it's also bloody good drinking for the price.
So tell us a bit about Shinas Estate. Where are they from? Who are they? What's the story?
Shiraz Estate are in Mildura. They're a Greek family that migrated in the 50s. They're probably, and they seem to, in this country, they're probably on the third generation winemaker.
Yeah.
I mean, in the family, they've traced their winemaking heritage going back at least 8 generations.
Whoa, cool.
They know a couple of things.
But it was one of those things, they started growing grapes and making wine on their plot, outside of Mildura, and it grew from there, and it started giving away to family and friends, and then swapping it for restaurants, meals, and blah blah blah, and then I had to buddy start selling it about 25 years.
So a very Mediterranean approach to winemaking. Sort of, you make it for yourself, and then you make it for your neighbours, and you make it for your friends, and then before you know it, you've got to start a business.
That's it.
So whatever they were doing before that, since the 1950s, it's all been consumed now by growing.
Thank you, Liz. Liz got her spinach from Casa de Wig.
Casa de Wig.
So good purpley colour, I reckon.
That's much darker
Really
colour.
dark. That's like very opaque.
Fairly see-through.
And also one of their vineyards has got a whole bunch
Whoa.
of Shiraz grapes and they trace back to 1898.
Wow.
So I don't know how they acquired or where they acquired them from, or they were on the property or whatever, but
They might have purchased some land that already had some grapes on it.
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting because I've sold and drunk this wine for years now, and I've only just discovered that they're from a Greek family. But it's quite interesting that
I've never actually tasted it, I don't think. I've just only sold it.
a lot of the really popular,
Yummy.
a lot of the big wine that we sell, a lot of French and Italian families in Australia. So it's interesting to see a slightly different background going on.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Um,
on to
and-
the notes.
I know with this one is a 14.7% as well.
These guys make
Punchy.
punchy wines, and if you've ever tried,
Well, that's probably a Mildura thing too, isn't it?
well, they're going to get it right.
Yeah. You can't not get it right,
Yeah.
really.
They'll get it right.
and these guys also do a red blend, which has been marked as one of the heaviest wines in our store.
Which one's that one? The
The
Executioner.
Executioner, and it's called so appropriately.
Does that have a little bit of Viognier
Yeah.
in it? Yeah, okay,
And
right.
it's a Shiraz Cabernet Viognier.
Yeah.
But the nose on this is delicious.
It's really difficult to imagine that it's just one grape from just one region. It's got so much.
There's earthiness, a bit of
Rich, isn't it?
I'm getting a bit of chocolate.
chocolate, bit of I'm getting like
There's a nut in there. What's the nut?
tobacco,
Yeah.
bit of hazelnut maybe.
Yeah, maybe that's it.
Melissa says plum on the nose.
Even that that sort of dry, crumbly, walnutty sort of.
It's a bit blood plum, this one, I reckon, Liz.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good call. This is a really complex nose.
Yeah. As I say, if somebody passed that to me, I would have sworn that was a blend because it's got so many things going on.
Oh, and the more you get some. I've just given mine a good swirl.
Oops, I just drank mine.
And it's
Now.
Oh, well.
the plumminess is really opening up.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm gonna go in.
Great texture. Big mouthfeel at the front.
Oh.
Oh yes, I forgot how much I love this.
My
wine.
palate's suffering a bit from. I've had a bit of orange and citrus going on.
Megan's got a bit of palate death going on.
Well, it was Shiraz gin from Mildura that knocked me off.
Yeah, well. There's a little bit of berry note in that front palate.
A little bit of like blackberry. I'm even thinking the
Or
sort
even
of the
cherries?
stewed cherries, yeah. That you buy at sort of like the tin cherries that you put in like a black forest
Yeah.
cheesecake kind of thing.
Oh, like Morena cherries, like black Morena.
Morella.
No. Black Morena cherries, which is a style of black Italian cherry. Anyway.
There you go. Melissa says very soft. Love the tannins.
It is soft, isn't it? It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's soft, but
It's cuddly.
cuddly.
Well, it's just it is like a hug in a bottle.
Well, as I say, the barrister's clerks went off on this when we first got it in.
It's been
Yeah.
And then it's been just,
consistent.
And then discovered that they like to drink it.
they like drinking.
But I've tasted multiple vintages of this, and I don't think I've ever noticed a change, or a dramatic change from vintage
Yeah.
to vintage.
Okay, that's interesting.
And there's a couple of naughty barristers out there, whenever they win a case, they send it to their counterparts on the other side of the floor.
I will actually say I have
Whereas the
been-
judges are the ones who get given the executioner.
Yeah.
For obvious
I will
reasons.
say I have been on the delivering end of one of these bottles that and one of our clients sent to his brother who lost a case,
Well, yeah, 'cause
which
there's,
I thought was particularly funny.
there's the guilty, the verdict, and the is which best with Wagyu?
I suspect it's the one that's yet to come.
Yeah, the one that's
So
yet
wait.
to come.
Yeah, hold on.
Just hold on a bit there.
It sounds biblical, is it? The one who's yet to come.
Yeah,
The
that's
one
it.
yet to come. This
Well,
is
speaking of-
seriously yummy thing.
What would you have this with?
Ossobuco.
Well, also would be good.
Yep.
Ah.
I reckon cheese. I reckon an ash rind brie from the other.
Salt.
Ash rind brie.
We have been doing a bit of cheese tasting because we've been matching cheese with wine to pack in hampers.
And which is why I said, talking about texture, this is the lead into that conversation. You know, we've all done wine and cheese tasting, comparing, blah, 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 and I thought, okay, there's the Masters of Wine program, which basically sets out the kind of ground rules for the way we taste wine. And we kind of follow along that roughly just to make sure it's like everything's happening in the right order. And just so happens there's a similar program run by the French, but it's about cheese tasting. So there's a whole program, and you look at it, it looks exactly like the Masters of Wine, except as you become a master cheese taster. And what they do is, the first thing they do is they look at the wine, look at the cheese to see the colour and la la la. The next thing then is they observe the texture, whether it's runny or crumbly or hard or up. You know, so we look at the colour, we observe the texture, or whether it's clingy or whatever.
Yeah.
The next thing they do is they smell the cheese. Oh, look, we smell the wine. Then they taste it and they describe it. Blah 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 blah. I went, it's an exact parallel, except these guys are doing it with cheese.
And will
Exactly
they
like
then
do.
at the end say pairing with the wine?
No, but I do.
Okay.
But we're doing that for
The reason we're talking so much about cheese is we do also have a corporate tasting coming up in which we were asked if we could possibly put together some cheese and wine hampers, which we took on under our sort of online tasting event organisers.
Why not?
We
And
talked
it's
to
been
people
terrible
that-
because we've had to eat lots of cheese and drink lots of wine.
horrible, absolutely horrible.
Josh has suggested chocolate lava cake, and Liz has said delicious with pork ragu or tagine. That's a good
Ooh.
one.
oh,
Nice
actually this would
tagine.
handle the spice.
I'm gonna try that.
I reckon this would go really well with like lots of cumin and turmeric.
Yeah.
Mm.
Like a good curry.
Mm.
Yeah.
Not the curry flavour so much. I think that's what I like about the tagine
A
idea.
lighter curry, I think maybe like a chicken curry.
Okay.
Nah.
Mm.
I'll go back to my cheese business.
Tagine's a good bet though.
I reckon
More like a spinachy ricotta fettery with cumin sort of situation.
Ooh.
Pastry kind of thing.
Spicy veggie, yummy, yummy.
Yeah.
I like that.
Kind of situation.
Actually, we had a tagine like that on Monday, but it was what the late great Keith Floyd used to call a UFO, unidentified frozen object. It was a fridge tagine. That's what it actually said on the label. Like I pulled it out and went, oh,
What?
which means I'd made a tagine with whatever was in the fridge,
And
and then helpfully not put on the label what
and
was
then
in there,
frozen it.
and then ate some of it, thought it was good enough to eat again, popped it in the fridge and froze it. But it doesn't tell you anything about what's in it when you actually get it out.
Anyway.
so that was lamb and lentils and stuff. So it was pretty good.
Yeah. There you go.
And
Anyway.
we've got exactly what we was.
That's what I'm saying.
So
that's
that
a
was
lot of
lamb,
cumin
tagine,
and-
all sorts of vegetables.
Yeah, yum.
But actually, you could do, in terms of vegetarian things, that would be good with a lentil, a really good,
Pumpkin and lentil tagine.
or a good
Yeah.
dal.
A lentil dal.
Mm.
Well, yeah, Lisa says, guess what's on the spinach? Cumin and coriander seed.
There you go. See, we know stuff.
And I've got a really good recipe for spinach with lentils, with cumin, coriander, garlic, and ginger.
Oy.
Which
Oh.
I dare say would go
Nice.
really well with this.
Please
My
share.
lamb chops and the guilty shirt.
And the ossobuco.
And that's
It sounds like one too many things to cook.
Well, shall we move on to the last one? If you have any last comments on this one?
Oh, I don't know.
I like it.
Yeah.
I forgot
What is it
how
saying
much
on
I
the
like
computer?
this wine.
Same things that I've said out loud.
She's read them out loud.
You read them all out.
I forgot how much I liked this wine. I'll say
Yeah.
that much.
I must have tasted it before, but I can't remember.
I think I tasted it quite a while ago and I thought it was too gutsy.
It isn't
I
now. I reckon
remember-
it's smooth.
I
Well, no,
remember
but I've drunk a lot more Shiraz.
You've probably grown up since
when
then.
Eva, when Eva first started working here, every couple of weeks she would say, "What should I be drinking? What should I taste?"
Yeah.
And we'd go around and suggest different things. This is one of the wines I suggested.
Oh no, I didn't try this.
Was it that?
No.
No.
No. This one was for a online tasting that we did.
Ah, of course.
Yeah. No, I hadn't taken this one home because I thought it was
Too crunchy.
Yeah, and I haven't revisited it.
And you
But
were wrong.
Now, I like it.
I like it. I like it. It's
I
different.
like it a lot. Beautiful. Well, we're moving on to the Passing Clouds now, which is our final wine.
Now, how much is the guilty?
$19.95.
$20.
$20.
And I don't think that price has changed
No.
in years. I don't know why this is a dribbly bottle.
Wait, this
but it
one?
is. No,
Oh,
the
the Guilty.
Guilty.
Sorry. And it says we just ordered a mixed dozen from Shinas Estate. Oh, sit down. Try it and went, yum.
Passing Clouds. This is very interesting because this is a new vineyard.
No, it's not.
No, sorry, a new label of wine from a very old.
It's not very old.
Well, someone we've always had. That's what I meant.
Passing Clouds are very trendy in the 80s because they were the big name.
Yeah.
The Passing Clouds. The original vineyard was planted in the early 70s in Bendigo, so it was probably the first sort of pioneer
Bendigo.
cool climate Shirazes.
Yeah.
The reason it was called Passing Clouds is because they'd always sit there and say, gee, we need a bit more rain, and they'd see the clouds come and they keep going and they disappear over rain and Heathcote and not in Bendigo.
Ah.
So but it also came synonymous with boutique Australian cool climate Shiraz
Yeah.
Well made.
and well made. Blah blah blah.
And Cabernet for that matter.
And since then, what they was experimenting with, what they may or may not do next. So they actually then diversified and started planting vineyards elsewhere. So now they've got vineyards at Kilmore and at Macedon. I think they moved the winery to Macedon. So
Oh.
sort of in that interim period, they put a lot of focus on rejuvenating their operation and a new winery and new vineyards. So we haven't actually seen much wine from them for the last 6 or 7 years.
Right.
And all of a sudden 6 months ago, they popped out and basically said, you used to buy our wine, why don't you buy any more? I said, because
You haven't been around.
you haven't been around, you haven't been talking to me, what's going on?
Can I also say they used to have really silly labels?
Dagular, yes.
Yeah, so part of their current business change is these really clean labels. They still have the same font.
No, there is one of their things, one of their labels, which is just like, I cannot believe it.
The Angel?
The original winemaker who's still around is Graham Leith, and it's called Graham's Blend. And if you buy a 6-pack of it, each one has got a different photo of Graham. So it's like in his 20s, in his 30s, in his 40s, in his 50s, in his 60s. It's like, and you look and go, I don't want to see a bald man. I want to see a decent wine label.
Anyway,
Russ doesn't like it. I don't mind it.
anyway.
It's just staggy.
But this is an amazing colour. This is really dark. If you thought the last one was
Yeah.
opaque, this is just like
Black.
impenetrable.
And they're actually onto the second generation now. So they opened up in 1974.
Yeah.
And Graham Lee
Yeah.
is the original winemaker. He still works there. But he's passed down a lot of his winemaking to his son, Cameron. So
Straight away, I get elderflower.
Do you?
Yeah.
oh, I didn't see that coming.
Neither did I.
It's very dark. And almost like a brownie purple tinge to it.
Yeah.
It's not brown though.
Like
No.
even the smell of it smells heavy. And just like
I get violets and raspberries.
Thick. It smells thick.
thick.
Yeah. That
Shiraz jam.
Shiraz jam.
That velvety, violety sort of smell.
Yeah, it's a bit floral smelling.
That's what I think is what you smell as thick. Is actually, it's like violets is floral, but it's a really thick.
It's a heavy
floral
smell.
It's like really undertone.
Mm.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm getting violets too. I'd be interested to see what everyone else at home thinks this smells like. Because it's quite a complex.
I'm not getting a lot of smell out of it, to be honest. Or maybe it's just my palate's a bit buggered, but I just...
Might need a bit of air in it.
Lisa says Lamington. Garnet.
Lamington
Garnet?
garnet?
Yeah.
Garnets don't smell of anything, but that's the colour.
No, they do.
Garnets.
They
Yeah.
smell like garnet.
They're rocks.
Yeah. They have a flavour. I didn't know this. Garnets have flavour.
You've been eating rocks.
Nah, it's a long story. No,
Go suck on a garnet.
there was a huge movement of crystal sucking hippies that thought that putting garnet in water gave you certain medicinal properties. It turns out it's just one of the minerals in garnet has a particular flavour. So garnet water actually tastes of something.
Of garnet.
I don't believe in it. I think it's stupid.
Oh, needless to say, I heard about it and didn't believe in any of the medicinal properties, but I had to taste it myself, and I believe it's true. So that's
Felt all
enough.
sparkly afterwards. No, it's
Now Luke's gone all hippie.
the aroma is completely beyond me. I get violet.
Raspberry.
I can't smell the garnet. Crystal sucking hippie I used to be.
I get a bit of chocolate.
Yeah, a bit of chocolate. Bit of like cocoa powder.
That's it. That dustiness,
bit
maybe.
of cassia bark.
Ah, now we're talking.
Cassia.
Oh yeah, I get it.
Like
You get
that
it?
sort of a little bit barky, woody, papery.
This isn't. Oh, this has got legs.
Yeah, this is sticking to the glass.
I'm gonna drink it.
Me
Oh
too.
no, hang on, there's more coming out of the nose.
Uh oh. There's
Right.
more. There's more coming out of Luke's nose.
Oh.
Like mulberry almost?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I get that. I can see that.
Like a mulberry, brambly. I like to say blackberry, but it's probably more
Ooh, that's got a punch to it.
acai. Anyway, I'm gonna dive into the
That's ballsy.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, do you think?
Yeah.
It's really
Deep.
deep, rich.
What
Long.
was Kent's question?
Wagyu.
Bagu.
This one.
This one.
This one.
This one. Kent.
Without a shadow of a doubt.
This one, Eddie. This one.
Nice bit of concentration. This is like.
I want to see a picture of Lamington on the nose.
Julie says mulberry.
Yeah. Mulberry.
Mulberry.
I think this one's a bit too heavy for me.
Really, I don't get that heaviness at all.
I think it's really rich and just like.
I'm getting the whole chocolate mouthfeel afterwards as well. I think this is what happens when you make wine without rain. That's what it tastes like. It tastes like
Wine without rain.
you've had hardly any.
Concentrated.
Yeah, it does. It does. It's almost that.
I actually think that's possibly why.
I don't like that Ribena.
Don't say that. Don't.
No, I don't like it because.
No, but you're suggesting people now.
No. It's that idea of the concentration you get in a cordial.
Yeah.
That's what I get. It's like
Yeah.
Wine concentrate.
wine
Like you
concentrate.
would
That's
think
thank you.
you'd need to water
I
it
think
down.
that's maybe why it's so difficult to get flavor profiles out of it, because it's so compact and
Yeah.
like dense.
I feel like that's a meal.
This is definitely a day two. If you wanted a wine that you could open and drink the next day,
Yeah.
this is it.
Well, that suggests a number of things. One is it needs breathing and decanting. Two is it's probably a bit young. It probably needs a lot more aging.
It's only 3 years old, isn't it?
Two.
Two.
I think ageability on this, it says 35 years.
Woo.
I believe it too. This is a seriously tightly bound.
So like $32.95 retail, something that's going to last 20 or
Yeah.
30 years, I consider a bargain.
Yeah.
But if it lasts 30 years and it costs $32, it's very cheap wine.
That's what Ross is saying. But what I like about it is for wine, once upon a
It
time,
looks like a $50 or $60.
once upon a time when people said that this wine will last 30 years, it didn't taste good now,
Yeah.
right? This tastes really good now.
I think that style of aging wines has changed. I think people
Yeah.
are really focusing on wines that
Yeah.
are complex enough that they taste good now and then taste good later.
That's also
Yeah.
to do with this, because the way they used to make wine for aging under cork is quite different to the way,
Okay.
because you don't need as much tannin and as much acid. You can just rely on the fruit.
Yep.
Because it doesn't need the air.
Yeah.
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 I really like this wine. I think this wine is going to be something I'm going to be drinking in hopefully 20 years' time.
Josh says that suggests patience.
No, Josh, it suggests you buy enough of it to last you for the next 20 years. Pay
It's not
attention.
patience, it's quantity.
Buy a pallet of it, you'll be laughing.
How long do we reckon the other two will last for?
They're both quite
They're
well
actually
structured.
Pretty.
It won't get past 10 o'clock tonight, I can tell you that.
Mind you, that guilty Shiraz, I know that I once took home a box of wine that I hid from myself, and one of them was that guilty Shiraz, and I opened it after a couple of years. Holds up under age really well.
Nice.
And I can't say
We haven't had the Munificent for that long, so I don't know. But
But,
I'm not sure how long that will last. The guilty will certainly, I reckon, 8 to 10.
oh yeah, that guilty would last 10 easy.
Yeah.
I mean, probably by the end it wouldn't be the most complex thing, but it'd still be yummy.
yeah, but this is delicious.
I reckon this is kind of this is what you
Yum.
drink after dessert but before cheese.
Ooh, this will be pretty good with cheese too.
This has said honey on the nose.
Oh yeah, I get that.
I've drunk all mine.
Whoa. Okay, honey,
No, this is right. It's there.
honey, elderflower, and violet.
It's sort of like a leatherwood honey, kind of.
Which would make you think you were tasting a white wine if you said honey.
No, but leatherwood honey is a very specific,
Yes.
Creamy,
Sort of really-
kind of.
no, like really gutsy Australian
Yeah.
honey.
Yeah. Now, do we have a favourite out of these?
Yeah, I'm drinking it.
Yeah. The passing clouds for me.
Yeah.
The guilty's good, but passing better.
I think
I like all of them.
I'm actually really stretched on this one.
I
Because
think
they're quite different.
Munificent's my favourite. Passing Cloud's too much for me.
But you like a softer, juicier,
Yeah.
which is definitely something like the Munificent.
Whereas
Whereas
Passing Clouds, yeah, it's too concentrated for me. It's just too.
I think I like these wines in different situations.
Yes.
Like you're eating with dinner, easy peasy Shiraz, you know.
You wouldn't have passing clouds with pasta.
No, but then you've got something like your guilty, which is a bit of a gutsy Shiraz, drinker's Shiraz.
Yeah.
And then you've got your passing clouds, which is like you're really sitting down to drink some wine and like I think also the good thing about the passing clouds is if you wanted to maybe sit down for a big dinner or something and had maybe some Pinot earlier, like you've already had another red wine,
Yeah.
and then you needed something heavier.
What about a cassoulet?
If you'd already had something like Pinot on the palate,
Wash your own chip.
It's got enough tannin to cut through some stuff, I reckon.
yeah,
But it's not really tannic. It doesn't give you that drying thing at the end, which is quite surprising given the size of the wine. It's nice.
Yeah.
It's very nice. I like it.
But no.
oh, there's something else.
Makes it squeak.
Oh, anyway.
What do you have any last comments?
We like it. It's Shiraz. Get on
I
it.
finished I want more.
You have to drive home.
You can take
I
that
have to drive
one
that.
first.
Yeah. Well, I've just done a Shiraz gin tasting.
Oh yeah, Carmen, price points we've got 17, 20, 33. That's that.
Yeah.
All drinkable now, and at 33 will be very cheap in 5 years' time, to be honest.
Yeah.
10 years' time. 20 years'
Well,
time.
like if it's going to last 30 years, that's a dollar a year for that bottle.
I must say, I got it in, as I say, when they turned up 6 months ago saying, look, we're back. Look, we've got a new label, which is just a rejig of the old label. But
Yeah.
and I thought I better get some, so I got a box and put some out, and it was all gone within a couple of days. So
Yeah. Nice.
And when we say that, that's not a light-hearted comment. The city's been a pretty quiet place, so to be going through.
So buy some, buy some.
Couple boxes of $30 Shiraz.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Nice.
Well, anyway, on to next week.
What are we doing next week, Eva?
Next week, I haven't yet posted the event because we've had a bit of a hectic afternoon, but it will be up. It's on Drinksmiths, so you can buy it already. We're going to be doing Vermouth.
Yay!
Woo!
This is my idea, so if you don't like the idea, tough.
Blame Vivian. So yeah, we have a few. We've got the Kochi, the Alave, Dolan, and
The Distilleries Provence.
that one. This is a new
Also known
product,
as the
so I
distillery
don't know
that
anything about it yet.
The Distillery of the Domaine de Provence.
So we're going to tell a little bit of a story. So we've got a little bit of a journey to go on here.
And there, so you can buy the 4 100ml bottles of that, and you can get your own Prosecco, yada yada. Or you can also buy a pack with the prosecco in it to your door. It's all on Drinksmiths. Get your pack. All of that jazz.
And we're going to discuss what vermouth you do what with.
What is it? Huh?
What is what? I know what vermouth is, but the question is, which vermouth do you have with what?
Exactly.
I'll tell you what, I'll sit down the challenge now. I'll do the background and do the story, and Luke can do what you mix it with.
And I'll do the drinking.
Oh, that's my job.
I thought you were going to stick to it.
I'll be a backup drinker in case you miss.
These are some seriously different and interesting vermouths. So this is going to be a serious, fun journey.
Well, the big question is it vermouth or vermouth?
Find out next week.
Tune in.
Beautiful. Well,
All right,
see you
guys.
then.
Been awesome.
Grab your pack.
Thanks, guys.
Stay safe.